let's talk week 8.
All right.
Detroit. Pittsburgh Steelers are heading over to Cleveland. I know you're down on Pittsburgh. I'm down on Pittsburgh. This is not about Pittsburgh. This is about history. This is about a tradition in this division specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh had a lock on it, and I think that they're the third best team in this division as it stands right now, and trending down. I think Cincinnati can definitely overtake them. So the note that I had when I selected this game was there's a new sheriff in town.
Okay.
And Cleveland, I think, is prime. And this is the more interesting matchup to me, only because obviously what happened in the playoffs,
mm-hmm.
where Pittsburgh got absolutely trounced. I don't think Pittsburgh's going to be able to respond in this game. Like I don't see how they're going to match up and say like, oh, that was a one-off Cleveland. You're still the same old Browns, the way that Juju Smith-Schuster was talking last year about the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. I don't think that Pittsburgh's going to be able to respond in any convincing fashion. And for one, they're not going to be. I don't think they're going to be able to win this game on the road. For one, and then two, I don't think they're going to be competitive to keep it close.
I don't see from a defensive side. I think they can keep the game relevant, but we talk a lot about this off there. I can't even begin to understand what the hell they're doing on the offensive side of the ball. It's just for Pittsburgh and with the consistency of what this franchise has shown. It's interesting to see them in a flux right now.
I think what happened is. What I think what happened with Pittsburgh is that they got so caught up in tradition, they don't want to say Big Ben, get the hell out.
I get it. If you what did they draft what was their draft selection in the first round? Remember, was they in the 20s?
Yeah, they were in the 20. They're 24.
When 20? No,
24, 26.
26. Yeah, all this makes sense. They wasn't even in a viable spot to go for a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Not from a draft aspect, but they could have jumped out there in free agency, and they didn't. And they just went and re-signed this guy. And again,
they restructured Big Ben's deal.
What the hell are they doing on the offensive side of the ball? I get what you did in the draft in the first round. You drafted a need. Big whoop. However, you got a plethora of needs, and it's just the draft alone wasn't gonna get it. It didn't. I don't care what they would have did. It just I don't think anything they did in the draft was gonna change my opinion of them.
Yeah.
Simply because when the free agency rolled out, you did nothing.
Yeah.
And all you did is like, oh, let's re-sign Juju and let's re-sign Ben. I think that's problems 1 and 2 right there. I'm like, it looks good on paper, but I'm like, did you see what happened last year? Because I seen what happened last year, and with y'all two on the field,
four of your last 5 games. You could not compete in those games, and the only reason why you won one of those games is because Indianapolis fell apart in the last week of the season.
Right.
So, and they were down. Like they and Indy did try to come back in that game. I get it, but they just couldn't finish out. And it's Phillip Rivers. Like you stopped an aging quarterback from creating a comeback on you.
Right.
Round of applause. Like, I'm sorry.
Right.
But Pittsburgh has been declining because they're continuing to bring back Big Ben, who's not able to get it done. He is not going to be able to elevate the talent that's around him. He can't anymore. And I'm sorry to say it, and I'm sorry for any Pittsburgh fans that are diehard on Ben Roethlisberger right now, but that's the sad fact. He is not able to elevate the talent around him anymore. He needs a structure around him. If he can even if you do put the pieces around him, can he get it done? I don't know. Because at this point, it seems like he's ready to retire, and he's just waiting for Pittsburgh to say it. But Pittsburgh won't say it because they're too entrenched in tradition and saying, "Hey, no, you're our guy. We love you. We think that we could definitely get it done with you." When there's been no evidence of that being the case over the last 3-4 seasons, in my opinion.
Right.
Couldn't get past New England, even as New England was becoming a worse and worse team, Tom Brady was still getting it done and still putting them over the top and got them into the Super Bowls. They won a couple of them, and even when they made it to into that playoff run, I think that regular season, New England still beat Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh is still not able to get over that hump.
Right.
And then even with New England being out of the picture, because that was apparently their kryptonite. New England is the only team that the Pittsburgh Steelers just can't get by. Right. But that clearly wasn't the case, because then the second New England leaves, Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown both leave as well, and you're back in rebuild mode. Right. And they were big on Juju. Juju's our guy. He's a number one. He won the Pittsburgh MVP award that's awarded by the players. They thought he was the best, and great. That definitely turned out real nice.
Yeah, he can go and thank Antonio Brown whenever he gets ready.
Yep, and Antonio Brown's the one with the ring.
Yeah,
exactly. So Pittsburgh has been. They are the most organized and successful failures of an organization that I've seen as of late. Yeah, and they give their fans reason to be excited. They've got talent for the most part, especially on the defense side of the ball. Their defense is scary, but it doesn't matter when your offense. Like I said this off air, it does not matter when your offense can't move the ball 10 yards down the field.
Yeah, man. Sitting here with 3 fullbacks on the active roster. Well, I guess if you got to bolster your lineup some kind of way. I don't know. That again, what the hell? And so as we were talking about Pittsburgh, Cleveland, I see this as being a rout, and I think it should be.
It might be worse than that playoff game.
I'm gonna say it needs to be a statement game, where it's just like, when you say new sheriff, I mean with a stamp, like you all are done, and I'm like, if you keep fooling around, Cincinnati gonna come roll around.
And I think that the reason why this one's even bigger is because this is week 8. This gives Cleveland time to warm up, to come up and just absolutely smack them right in the mouth.
And what is this? Is this one of our 12 o'clock specials?
I hope so. I would love to put this amongst everything else, because that way it doesn't have any.
Just blends right on.
Yeah.
In.
Week 8. Yep, noon. 12 o'clock special right there. Cleveland, Ohio, First Energy Stadium. It's in Cleveland too. Again, all those fans. Man, they are, and this is also testing Cleveland to see if they can be mature enough to get the job done.
Right.
I think that's that's the kind of the Cleveland aspect of it. Like, hey, this is your chance to take a hold of this division. Go out there and show us that you are the team that we think you are.
I'm not seeing a 48-37 game coming out of this one at all. Like you're saying in the playoffs. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna see it like that. I think maybe from Cleveland side, sure.
I'm talking about the first half of the game where it was 28-3. Like,
gotcha.
I'm talking one of those types of routes. Because Cleveland took their foot off the pedal at the end of that game.
Well, you said at the end of the half. No, it was actually 35-10 at the half. Yeah, it was even worse.
It's insane. They're so good.
Yeah, this game was over.
Yeah, so I just that's my outlook on that game.
The one good game Juju had. Ain't that something?
Yeah. Week 9, Green Bay is on the road taking on Kansas City. Could this be the Super Bowl that we thought we should be getting if Aaron Rodgers is even here? Again, every time we bring up Green Bay, I'm gonna have to talk about if Aaron Rodgers is gonna be there.
Well, technically, we've seen that in Super Bowl 1 when none of us was alive, but it did happen already.
Yes.
According to
No, I'm talking about the State Farm Super Bowl that everybody's looking for. Rodgers versus Mahomes.
It could be. I mean, I wouldn't knock it. It would still make for a good matchup, but I think it's a matchup most people don't care to see. it happens, it happens. But it just depends. I mean, it's a strange fan base. Where you feel. I mean, there's Packer fans all throughout the country, but it's hard pressed to find just a big following
Yeah.
outside of Green Bay.
Yeah.
Or outside of the metropolitan, Midwestern,
Yeah.
Minnesota, Illinois, kind of.
Not even in Illinois, really. If you're in Illinois, you're almost all
You got
of
a
the
few
a couple.
stragglers.
It's
out
not
there.
like up here in
Oh,
Minnesota.
that's what I'm saying. The whole the conglomerate of those three states.
Yeah.
Just a that's where you're gonna find the majority of it.
Yeah.
Your outliers is everywhere else in the world. So
Yeah.
it's just you have to go very far and have to be in some very obscure places just to come across a cheese here that's just randomly walking around
Yeah.
outside. You just don't see it. So with that, it's just that's not one of the matchups that most the outer population will sit there and kind of warm up to. But hell, with an Aaron Rodgers led team, still makes for a very interesting football, regardless. But and they're definitely gonna make it very interesting in week 9 here. And
Yeah.
you said this is in Green Bay or in Kansas City?
This is in Kansas City.
You don't get Green Bay no type of advantages here.
Not at all, and I don't think they deserve it. And just because straight off the fact that you have an easier schedule than the Bears, that's what I'm just like. You guys, you deserve to have to go on the road for this game in the middle of the year.
Exactly.
And it'll be even sweeter if it's without Aaron Rodgers. So.
Well, if it is, then it's not going to be a marquee game. But
oh yeah, this game is going to get flexed right out if there's no Aaron Rodgers.
Right. However, me being a Kansas City fan, I'll take the W. I don't care who it
100%.
is.
I'm still taking Kansas City in that game regardless because that's an insane team.
Again, Kansas City, and what will definitely be I think Kansas City has a better offense overall, and they damn sure got a better defense.
Yes.
So, say what you want to say, like we got Aaron Rodgers, we got Patrick Mahomes. What's your point? I mean, I would say that's a wash, but even if let's take those two out of the equation, what do y'all got left? Now what?
Devontae Adams.
Who's going to, but you need Aaron Rodgers for Deontay Adams to do something,
Yeah.
You don't need Patrick Mahomes, but Travis Kelce to get 100 yards. Chad Henne can do it. Technically,
Yeah.
Now Tyreek Hill ain't gonna have one of his games, but I was like, yeah, leave him open and see what happens.
True.
So I'm just saying that when it comes down to weapons, and we understand what Mr. Disgruntled, Mr. Rodgers is talking about anyway, he ain't got the weapons that he want or the weapons he thought he should have.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. So with that being said, yes, I think Chiefs hands down.
Let's talk. Let's keep it moving here. Week 10 is boring. We'll skip right past that. The only really matchup there is a division matchup between the Rams and the 49ers, but that's a talk for another day. Week 11. You got one in week 11. What do you got there?
Week 11. Oh, I got the Ravens versus the Bears. At the Bears, I should say.
Yeah. And this is a Monday night game, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Nope.
No.
12 o'clock.
Really? Okay.
Yep. I actually notated these.
Okay.
Okay.
Even better. I don't think Chicago should be facing Baltimore.
It's a weird game. That's a weird matchup.
And this is where I have real big trouble picking this game. And this is me taking my bias as a Bears fan completely out of it. The Bears have a sneaky good rushing defense. And yes, we have issues with our defensive backs on that side of the ball, but I don't see how the Ravens in this game just absolutely trounce the Bears, because their rushing game's not going to be completely neutralized, but it's not going to be what it would be against other teams.
Right.
I mean, you still got Akeem Hicks plugging up those holes in the middle. Bilal Nichols, Eddie Goldman's coming back. On the edges, you got Robert Quinn. You got Khalil Mack coming off the edge.
Mm-hmm.
You got the field general and Roquan Smith right up there in the middle. Like, the front seven is stacked. I don't think there's any way that they're able to have just an absolute run fest over the Bears in this game. they're gonna have to pass. This is gonna have to be Lamar Jackson is throwing the ball, and Rashad Bateman has his breakout game this week.
Or Bears neutralize their pass game like maybe half the league end up doing it a year. And we got J.K. Dobbins coming back for year 2. We don't. I'm not gonna talk bad about the guy. I actually think he's a solid pick.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think he's just going to. Oh my God, he just rushed for 1,400 yards this year. And I'm granted, it's even with an extra game. I'm saying it's just I don't see them running like that, and they damn sure ain't running like that on the Bears. And with the pass game still suspect overall, it's just it makes you ask the question, so no, it's not making me ask the question. It's telling me this is what is going to end up coming down to. Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Doing something, creating something. He's going to be the leading rusher. He's going to be, it's like he's going to have to do something so spectacular, I think, to propel them beyond that, to beyond Chicago. Because, again, and them being the franchise that they are, I know that they can respect a good defense. And they're gonna be faced with one. Now, question is this going to be, Andy Dalton or Justin Fields? Which changes this dynamic of it. Which, my goodness, Justin Fields versus Lamar Jackson. Okay, I'm done. That's all. Because I was gonna go into another Bears thing, but it's just, man, when we get into later in the season, I don't know who the starting lineup going to be. It just it makes it for a very interesting matchup. But also it makes it for a very crappy yet interesting schedule that the Bears have, because we got the Ravens in week 9. I'm like, my goodness.
Week 11.
It's week 11. Why am I saying week 9?
This is right after the Bears.
You know what I'm saying?
Which
week
also
9?
brings
It's the ninth thing listed on my.
Yeah.
Never
It's
mind.
just at the end of the day, and this is what makes it even more interesting, is because the Bears have a bye week right before this. They get rested. They get guys back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like the week 10 bye. That's a perfect, especially in the way that this season's set up this year. You get 9 games beforehand. You got 8 games after.
Right in the middle.
Like this is perfect. And then you're coming in. If the Bears are in a situation where they're still in the playoff hunt, or they're in competition with Green Bay at this point in the year to try to get the division title, this game here is going to be insane. And this is going to be a game that probably gets flexed.
Could be. I could see this going into a possible Sunday night game, but yeah, we got the Chiefs Cowboys at 3. Then the Giants and the Bucks. It was a Monday night game.
Let me check what.
Not sure who the Sunday night game is.
Sunday night game would be Steelers Chargers. Miss me with that. Move the Bears into there.
There's a possibility.
Yeah.
That remains to be seen. That one might be.
Or, I mean, there is one other game this week that definitely could get flexed into that spot. That's the Colts Bills.
I'll take either one. Yeah.
Either one in Sunday night, and then move. I would
probably take that one first, actually.
Yeah, and then whatever. What would you take out? No, you could take the matchup with the Cardinals and Seahawks and make that America's game of the week.
It could. It depends on if Russ is cooking. Because if he's not,
true,
that might not happen either.
And it also depends on how the Cardinals respond this year. Like you said, I've been. I know you're saying that you're ready to see this team kind of blossom into what we think that they can be. I think that they're a year away. We'll see where they are.
Yes, I think it might be a breakout year for them. I mean, I'm favoring it that way.
Yeah.
But if it don't happen, trust me, I'm not gonna lose any sleep over. Like,
the only reason why I don't think it's this year is because I feel like they have the roster this year. They just need to know how to win this year. They need to figure that part out, especially within this division. That's the reason why I feel like Arizona they'll have to take a step back this year. And then next year, I 100% think that they could definitely boom into something insane, especially with other teams regressing in this division.
Right.
So we'll see. It's just something to keep an eye on this year. Week 12, I have two matchups that I think are very interesting this week. The Rams take on Green Bay, another NFC playoff rematch here. And I think that the Rams potentially, might I say, the Rams are much better now that they could definitely give Green Bay a run for their money.
Definitely. I mean, granted, again, you take out Goff, you add Stafford, you keep the team the way it is.
That alone is just like, oh my, that team's insane now.
Complete upgrade. That's I'm like,
and then that's also assuming that Green Bay again. Do they have Aaron Rodgers? Like,
and this one is played where?
In Green Bay.
Ah,
no, it's still in Green Bay.
How we go to LA and then Green Bay get to face them at home? What the hell?
Again, the Bears have the harder schedule. But I definitely think that this is going to be a game that everybody's ready to see, because just that matchup alone is just, these are two powerhouses in the NFC. This is a team that was outside of the bubble last year. They made it into the playoffs, but they were limping in.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knew that they had a decent team, but we definitely had no faith in Jared Goff. This team just has a complete facelift with Matthew Stafford as the quarterback now. The defense is still stacked. I'm ready to see Cam Akers take a big step in year 2. And then just Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Tutu Atwell as a young wide receiver over there.
Mm-hmm.
I know they got a couple of more guys, so they've got depth there. Just this team is ready to take that step. Green Bay has been a powerhouse. They've been in back-to-back NFC championship games, NFC championship games rather. And I'm gonna assume Aaron Rodgers is coming back. I mean, I know there's all the rumblings out there, but as it stands right now, it looks like he's coming back. So
but pay attention to June 2nd.
I outside of June 2nd, I don't think there's any other time. There's any other way that he's out of Green Bay. It seems like they're going to force him to either sit out a year or play. And if it comes down to that, I think he's going to play.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at with it. But if they trade him on June 2nd, hey, you're gonna see a different side of me. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be acting brand new. I'm ready for Chicago to take this division. But the other matchup that I wanted to see this week, Cleveland-Baltimore. That is an insane game. And this is who's gonna take the King of the North crown in the AFC here?
That's what it's coming down to.
Because I don't think Pittsburgh is at this. When we hit week 12, I think we're going to be, all right, Pittsburgh's out of it. They're not even in the playoff bubble at this point. That point, I think we're going to be just ready to write them off as they're not making it to the playoffs.
Right.
In Cincinnati, they're Cincinnati. They're up and coming, but they're not going to be in the playoff picture. Week 12, and this is the crazy part about this is going to be their first matchup in week 12. So it's really going to be, okay, you guys have had all year to warm up. Let's see the two best of this division face off in honestly a prime position if everybody's healthy. It's not everybody's getting, like, we've already got our playoff seeding made and we're all fine, good and dandy there. Let's just rest guys. It's not going to be any of that. Plus, it's not going to be, it's the slow start to the season. No, this is what these teams are. They're getting into their grooves. They're in their prime of the season. They're going to be playing some of their best football at the beginning of this week here. This is where you start to see that kind of ramp up to the playoffs. So I think that this is going to be a huge game, and I think Baltimore-Cleveland, it's in Baltimore. This is really going to be a showing of who really is going to be able to control this division.
Yes. And I was gonna say that same week. I'm not changing the subject. Yeah. Same week, Pittsburgh plays Cincinnati.
Ooh, yeah.
So we talking about some separation
in Cincinnati.
Yes.
Oh yes. I'm gonna watch that game. I'm gonna end up watching that game somehow.
Yep. Paul Brown Stadium.
Yep, that's
Cincinnati.
yeah, because I think Heinz Field is Pittsburgh.
But I mean, but I've said that I was only using that because I was looking at, as you were saying, they're fighting for basically NFC North supremacy.
Yeah.
Week 13, Cincinnati got the Chargers at home.
Yeah.
Then they got the 49ers at home. I'm not saying that these are not bad teams, but they got home games. But then they got to go to the road. They got to go to Denver. And then in week 16, Baltimore at home. Then they got to get Kansas City at home. And then they got Cleveland in Cleveland for week 18.
Yeah.
I was saying all that to say this. Pittsburgh could find themselves in last place. That's all I was really getting at. However, you got to see what type of Cincinnati team is rolling out there. I'm really high on the AFC North. I think even a declining Pittsburgh is still formidable. It depends on how far they decline. That's really the question, and that's what I'm waiting for. I just want them to start
me,
playing
I think this is
preseason.
going to be the first time we see Mike Tomlin with a sub 500 team.
So you think 7 or less?
7 or less, yeah. I've looked at their schedule. I've combed back over it. I don't see how they get 8 wins or 9 wins.
Okay, that's fair.
Or sorry, 8 or less wins because there is no 500s anymore. So yeah, I don't see how they get to the 9-win mark. It's like within their division alone. It's at best you split with Cleveland. You get both against Cincinnati, and you get beaten twice by Baltimore. That's at best. Yeah, that's 3-3.
Right.
And then outside of your division, you still got to get 5 wins. You still got to get 6 wins. Like I don't see it.
So we got here.
They've got a rough road ahead of them, and they're facing. They have the toughest schedule, quote unquote, in the NFC.
Bengals,
yeah,
in week 12. Then they got Baltimore at home, at Minnesota. Then they got Tennessee at home, at Kansas City. Then they got Cleveland at home, and then at Baltimore. Oh my gosh!
I mean, they start off the season at Bills.
Hold on. In their last 6 weeks. Baltimore
Minnesota.
At Minnesota, Tennessee, Kansas City, Cleveland, and Baltimore. Cincinnati, like I said.
How do they get 9 wins?
Okay, let's run it. Let's run this back.
From
week
the top.
1, Buffalo.
Sorry, at Buffalo. You have to go. You're at home versus Vegas. You're at home versus the Bengals. At Green Bay, if they have Aaron Rodgers, that's not an easy win. Broncos, okay. Versus Seattle, I think even Seattle with the ineptitude that they've had this offseason.
This is a Sunday night game.
And
on the road. I don't know. That's a trap game.
It's a tough game. I'll say that, but I'm still saying even with the declining Seattle team, that's still a tough game for Pittsburgh.
True.
And then you got to go to the Browns. You've got the Bears at home, but that's on a Monday night. You got the Lions. Okay, cool. You can take that one.
Thank goodness. The Lions.
You have to go to the Chargers. That's tough. The Chargers, you see how high I'm on the Chargers. I like them. I like them much more than Pittsburgh.
Right.
At the Bengals, and then you have that last 6-game stretch versus the Ravens, at Minnesota, who is definitely a team that could win the division.
I'm gonna have to.
Tennessee, Chiefs, at Kansas City, Browns, and then at the Ravens again. Like they have a murderous schedule.
Oh my god! No, yeah, it's murderous rough. You're right. Like that is. Oh my god!
This could be a 2-15 team.
It's really bad when you got to say that Cincinnati is as good as it gets in that stretch.
Yeah.
What? Like, man, are you serious in a week 12 matchup?
A road game.
Right.
That is in division. They can definitely get you there. Plus, I don't remember where their bye week is. That could be a trap game.
Week 7.
Okay, so never mind. That's not a trap game.
That's why I was talking about the Seattle game, which was in week 6.
Okay.
Because it was a Sunday night game, and then
they have the bye, and then they have to go to the Browns.
Yeah, it's like it's just set up for you all not. Even if you win, you're losing.
Yeah.
You're not gonna walk out of here with an easy win. So yeah, they by far had to have the worst, the most difficult schedule. Why? No team should have a schedule like that.
Well, that's a first place schedule. That's a schedule where you have like that's just tough. You got the NFC North, which is one of the best divisions right now. You have the AFC West, which is it's a 50-50 division in my opinion, and you have your own division in the AFC North, and that's going to be tough as well. So it's just across the board. They had the worst luck of the draw there, and they kind of got screwed over. But that's what you get when you go 12-0 to start off the season, and then you decide to fall apart and not go get yourself a Super Bowl. Now, I guess let's move on to Week 13.
Wow,
a little bit less exciting of a game, but still something that I think people need to be aware of is Arizona at Chicago in Week 13, and I think that this is what could potentially be called the future of the NFC, if you will. An NFC West team. We've been talking about the AFC so much I can't say the conference.
I mean, between Cleveland, Buffalo, and Kansas City,
they locked down the entire schedule.
And you all thought we were going to talk about Chicago all night, and we didn't.
Which is funny. We're talking about them now. No, but NFC West, this is a young team that can definitely take over that division in the next few years. NFC North, Chicago is definitely primed, especially if Aaron Rodgers is leaving this division. Chicago is definitely in the best position to take over the division. And so I think that this is an up and coming offense against a powerhouse defense, which is also another up and coming offense as well. I think this is just one of those future of the league type games that people are going to be excited to see. So I'm just excited to see that type of dynamic in Week 13. Again, these hopefully everybody's healthy at this point in the season, so we'll be able to see what we can get out of it.
Now I do remember why I had the 49ers slated against Seattle that week.
What's that?
Could you imagine the possibilities of a Russell Wilson and a Trey Lance matchup? Because my point being is, I know that they're not trying to, they want to bring him on slowly, and I understand that. But I also understand Jimmy G comes with an injury bug.
Yeah. I think from the injury aspect, I could definitely see Trey Lance being out there.
Not from a production, just from the
because
fact
I think that he's the only one out of the draft class here that I don't think is ready to play at all this season. I think he needs a year, and it's not that he doesn't have talent. I think it's just he needs to be able to get his feet under him, be able to read defenses a little bit better before he takes over this.
I get
this
that
offense,
but it's Week 13. I was just saying, that's the only reason why I had it slated at the possibility that he could possibly be playing.
Anything from Week 13 on, it's 50-50 to me. They definitely can trot him out there. If they have the choice, I definitely think they're going with Jimmy G. If he's injured, I can 100% see if Jimmy G's injured. I could definitely see him being on the IR at this point of the season. So
he said the IR. You can't just be out for a week. Can't just be week to week, day to day. You got to be on IR.
No, he usually is on IR at this point of the year. So,
wow.
and I'm saying IR. I could just see him on the injury report.
And that's the other component that I got. Why I'm a little down on them, because I get it.
Yeah.
Which why I was gonna say I think I need to readjust a couple things, because I did not overlook a few things about San Francisco that I obviously forgot. I did not even. It didn't occur to me, and I obviously had to forget this because I know I had to hear this number at some point, but for some reason I forgot. 55 injured defensive players. Like,
I said this to you.
dude, it don't even make sense. They got like 63 people on the roster. Like,
Yeah.
how do you lose your whole team and then you know? It's
And
like,
then some.
yeah. But with that being said, I said I need to adjust it. I didn't say I needed to change it out right out. But my point being is, I think I may have went a little too low, not too much. My point being, it doesn't change for the fact that they still have to gel. They still have to come together. They still,
Jimmy
Jimmy
G still
G
has to be
got
healthy.
play.
Yeah.
He has to be healthy because you can sit there and be like, okay, we got everybody back, and then you don't have a quarterback. Okay, we're right back at square one again. And
Which I could be, and that's the other thing. I could be totally wrong about Trey Lance. He could be ready to play right now, and that might be something. Just this, hey, that's a Mike Shanahan. He saw something in him. He knows that he's still got the talent. He can get it done, and he was the only one who really saw that. That could be a whole Patrick Mahomes thing from a few years ago.
Right.
That's fine, but to me, it just looks like Trey Lance is the one guy that's gonna need a year to sit, in my opinion. And if he does kind of come along a little bit faster, then yeah, please trot him out and let's get him reps, because that's the biggest thing, is get him reps towards the end of the year, especially if they're out of it. If we're saying like what we think it may be with Jimmy G going down and just a bevy of injuries, because they just keep getting hit by the injury bug. If that's the case, then yes, trot him out there, play him, because if he's got reps, those are going to be invaluable as compared to just the practice reps that you get when you're doing kind of half game speed, two-hand tag, and he can't be touched one iota in practice.
Right.
Live game action is always going to be super valuable. So, yeah, no, I think that's definitely something that is to keep an eye out on, especially if San Francisco's healthy, because then that's going to be huge, and then that's going to be able to show me whether Seattle has kind of taken a lock on this division and they really are what we thought they were going to be a few years back, or is Seattle regressing and Pete Carroll is just being stubborn and he's not ready to move on, and San Francisco is as good as I thought they were. So
this is where I found them. This is where Arizona can squeeze in there. I'm just saying, I'm working the angle here.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
That's why I'm ready to we'll see if my theory gonna work out here.
Let's talk Week 14 here.
Yes.
Another potential Super Bowl preview. Tampa Bay versus Buffalo. Tampa Bay is at home with this game. I think Tampa Bay is clearly the favorite in the NFC as it stands right now. They're the lone ones at the top in the NFC as it stands right now.
Let me say this: if there's an upset to be made on the road, it can come here. So I don't think this is one. Not that we're doing. Oh, this team's gonna win this one. They're gonna. No. We did that for a couple times, but I'm saying, I thought it was worth saying that by no stretch of the imagination, this could be an upset special here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is coming in at a 3:00 game, so it's not, it's not going to be under the lights and all that other good stuff, and that, just going to be one of the standard afternoon games. And it's going to be one of those where Brady came up short headlines the next day. I don't
rule it out.
Rule it out. Don't find it. No need for raised eyebrows. Don't be surprised. I mean, the Bills are for real.
That is a real roster. That is a team that really, the guys that they brought in are rookies and a couple of free agents on the offensive side of the ball, but rookies on the defensive side of the ball. They've got a full offseason this year to finally get everybody kind of acclimated. I think that they're going to start the year off hot. I think that they're going to be able to kind of get their legs under them at the beginning of the year, and Buffalo is a sneaky like this team's good, and again, it's not from the aspect of Buffalo is being led by the greatest quarterback of all time in Josh Allen. That's not what I'm saying, and I do think Josh Allen is good, and I think that's all he has to be.
Yep.
So I really like Buffalo. I'm interested to see if they can continue their success. This is another team where, hey, you had the benefit of a easier schedule last year. You capitalized off of it, and you really did show up in the playoffs, kind of like Cleveland. Are you mature enough? Are you able to kind of finish things out and bring it full circle the following year? That this is what's going to show if you're actually for real or not.
Right. You know they picked up Jacob Hollister.
I didn't. I know they got Emmanuel Sanders.
Him as well. But but the tight end, I'm like, that's.
Oh, I mean that's at the tight end position is not.
I was like, oh
yeah,
because this Dawson Knox thing, I'm like, y'all kind of miss me with this guy.
I mean, but if you got another guy there,
that's what I was saying. It's
going to help him out.
That's like now I kind of like that.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, I just they have a really nice roster. But I said all that to say, I mean, I'm even more surprised as I keep looking at their route. I'm like, God, Buffalo's for real.
Kansas City doesn't have a cakewalk this year.
No, I never thought they did, but no, they. Oh gosh, we'll know in the first month for Kansas City because they will face the whole AFC in the first month. So it's we will know where they stand by October 1st. You know,
that's funny.
Know what kind of team we really got here. Ridiculous NFL. What are y'all doing between Pittsburgh, Kansas City, and Chicago's? Schedules. What the hell? Like what in the world?
Them's the breaks.
I think this is a part of that strategy of that formula, where at the very end they got these unforeseen variables that they don't know what to do with, and therefore that's how you get Pittsburgh
you just fall into a place where you got just powerhouse division. You got three divisions that are fantastic that all have to play each other.
They want to do powerhouse. Okay,
it's not that they want to; it's just the way that it fell.
Based on this formula, you're fulfilling the powerhouse element, the key matchup elements. Then you're fulfilling the division matchups. Then you're fulfilling the conference matchups, and then you have these intangibles. So they did all of that, right, for all 31 other teams, and then they got down to there's some little math is off somewhere in there, and then they looked at like Pittsburgh and they're like, well, why do we have all these division games left? And why haven't we addressed them? Because then they're going to give you the explanation about all these other elements. And then be like, see, that's what I'm talking about. Because every year there's going to be this one team that's really going to get screwed. Now, I don't care that it's Pittsburgh, to be honest. But I was just saying because I know what goes around comes around. And as bad as Chicago's schedule is to this year, I wouldn't be shocked by next year they'll get a schedule like that. It ain't too far-fetched.
But Chicago's not that far off.
Not at all.
Because if you look at it's literally the rankings of the strength of schedule is Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Chicago, Green Bay, and then after that I don't know. But I think Minnesota's in the top 10. Like
Chicago won 2 more games. Well, had they took the division,
they'd be a little bit easier. Right. And I don't agree with it. I don't think it should be that way, but it's just the way that the chips fell last year. Because again, we have a Super Bowl champion on our schedule as compared to Green Bay, who has New Orleans, who just lost Drew Brees, because New Orleans won their division and Green Bay won the division, and Tampa Bay came in second place and Chicago came in second place. So there's, again, and this is probably for another podcast where we'll talk about some things that we change in the NFL to make it even better. But that's for another time. Let's talk about another Super Bowl preview. Again, if Green Bay has Aaron Rodgers, they will be taking on Baltimore in Week 15. Your thoughts?
Cleveland versus Baltimore?
No, Green Bay versus Baltimore.
Green Bay versus Baltimore. Wow. In Baltimore.
In Baltimore, yep.
Okay. Baltimore should win that one handily. Green Bay doesn't impress me on the road. They just don't.
Green Bay doesn't impress me.
Especially if they got to go across. If they got to lose on the road outside of their division. They, outside of the tri-state area. Yeah. They just not the same team,
No.
And, of course, as you keep been mentioning all night, they might not even have Aaron Rodgers. So Yeah, it's. I think it could be a very interesting matchup. I don't like the styles of the two teams coming together.
No,
It
it
doesn't
doesn't
make
work.
for beautiful football per
This is going to
se.
be an ugly, scrappy game.
Okay, I thought that was just me
Yeah,
because I was
no.
just like, why am I not feeling this one? Even though these are two, it just,
Yeah,
round peg going to go
yeah.
into a square hole right now. It's just
No,
it don't
like I
fit.
said, this is going to be a scrappy game where it's going to come down to, again, this is me assuming Aaron Rodgers is going to be here. Aaron Rodgers doing Aaron Rodgers stuff where he's throwing out of sacks. He's somehow getting the ball down to Devontae Adams still, well, even with them double teaming him and Alan Lazard for some reason, or whoever it is, whether it's Alan Lazard or Marquez Valdez-Scantling, whoever the number 2 guy is that day, just ends up going off because they're focused on Devontae Adams, and then all of a sudden they start looking at that guy, and then towards the end of the game, Aaron Rodgers might have a chance at getting Devontae Adams a shot down the field, and that's how they might win that game. It'll be very ugly. It'll be an uninspired win, and people are going to have a lot of questions about Green Bay after that game. But I really think it's going to come down to Baltimore just going to run the ball down the throat of Green Bay. It's not going to be a runaway game or anything like that. They did try to address their run game a little bit more and their run support on the back end, but Green Bay is going to have their hands full, especially on the road in this game. And again, granted, Green Bay already plays outside, so it's not that big of a deal. But they're in Baltimore in the winter, so it's just going to be a cold game. It's just going to be ugly all around. Like it's not going to be the most exciting offensive football that we're kind of accustomed to with this new era of the NFL.
Yes, agreed, and again, this is what week 15.
Week 15.
Yeah, we're at the end of the year. We're a week into Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're on the road. It is just it's not looking good for Green Bay in that one. Looking great for the rest of the division, but not looking good for Green Bay that week. And I think it's still going to be an interesting game. I mean, you got, let's say, arguably, the number 2 team from last year in the NFC going against the number 4 team in the AFC. Is that
5
team? Okay.
Because they were a wild card team. Because
I mean, like where they finished, not so much.
Oh yeah, fair. I think they would be technically 3 then.
Yeah.
They lost to Buffalo, who lost to Kansas City, who won the AFC.
Who was the bigger loser?
Who was the other team? Who did Kansas City beat? Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Yeah, I would put Baltimore 3.
38-20. No, I'm looking at. No, 17-3.
It wouldn't go by the points of that game. It would go by where those teams finished within the regular season. So, but it's how it does. So Baltimore has been the third.
Real rankings, the way they ranked.
Power rankings, I have Baltimore up right now, but that's subject to change.
Right. Well, that's ever changing.
Yeah.
I told you I already changed mine. But yeah, moving on. But with that, I think it's still a solid matchup, but I think it's a weird matchup. Well, you got me interested because I'm like, hell, I don't even think I ever thought about that. Them two teams facing each other. Have they ever faced each other in the recent last several years?
I don't think recently. If it was a game that nobody cared about.
I remember them playing Cleveland recently, but I don't remember them playing Baltimore.
No, I don't think it's no. It couldn't have been in the last 3 years because this is one of those rotational things, where they would have been playing the other 3 divisions in the other conference. So it would have to have been 4 years ago was the last time they played.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah. You keep going. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Week 16, we got 2 to talk about. I want to get to the more interesting one to me to begin with. Chicago versus Seattle. I think this is interesting just based off of all of the craziness that has happened this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago going into Seattle, having to face off against Russell Wilson. And by this time, it's almost 100% Fields is playing, in my opinion. So we get to see the new Russell Wilson versus the Russell Wilson of Russell Wilson.
Get to see new Russ.
Yeah, we get to see
New
see
Russell.
what did you call him? Deshaun Wilson versus Russell Wilson. Russell Watson versus
Russell Watson. And Deshaun Wilson.
Yeah. So I'm ready for that. I want to, because it was the very first thing that came out of his mouth in his press conference is that somebody asked him what do you see your game as, and he says, I model myself after Russell Wilson.
Mhm.
So hey, let's see if the young kid can dethrone the guy that's not getting the support that he should be.
Yeah, I don't want to backtrack. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Packers did play the Ravens in 2019.
Really?
Yeah.
When?
August. That's a
preseason
Is this a
game.
preseason game? Wait a minute.
That's what I was saying. They don't play because they couldn't. I think with the way that the schedules are
No, I
made,
understand.
they couldn't play them in the regular season until.
But I'm talking about I distinctly remember the Packers playing Cleveland in Cleveland because Cleveland was up, and then they came all the way back in the last minutes. I don't know how they did in the fourth quarter. They came back from some 20-point deficit or something. That did not happen 4 years ago. At least that did not happen 4 years ago in my mind.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what game you're thinking about. I can't remember.
You don't remember that one?
No.
They were in Cleveland, and like Cleveland had them, and I'm gonna find it.
Okay. Well, it might be something we talk about off air.
No, we're gonna talk about it now. Find it. Go ahead.
No, so but with Chicago and Seattle, this is going to be Chicago's revenge for not getting Russell Wilson. I'm ready to see them go at it with them, and I think it's going to be a really interesting matchup because it's going to be similar offensive types, only to the degree that that at the quarterback position, two not amazing offensive lines. I think Seattle's offensive line situation is just not good at all, but Chicago's is getting better. And then the running games for both, I mean, you got just guys that more than likely aren't going to be healthy at this point in the year from Seattle versus Chicago's offense, where David Montgomery, he's never had a major injury. Tariq Cohen, yes, he had his worst injury of his career last year. And then we got Khalil Herbert and Damian Williams, who Damian Williams only missed time last year because he opted out due to COVID. So I think this is just a good team that's trending down in Seattle, and a team that was middling / bad last year trending way up in Chicago. So just kind of see how those trajectories are changing. Plus, we've got two really good defenses. Outside of I think Seattle needs some help up front, getting some pass rushers. But outside of that, they've got great defensive backs. Linebackers are solid. And then Chicago, the complete opposite. They've got a fantastic front seven. They can rush the passer like crazy. They just need help with DBs. So
yes, and let's get a bit of a. I don't want to say it's a revenge game, but it's a even in the score.
Hey, we'll take some solace in pummeling Seattle in Seattle.
Yes, and it's just to stick it to Pete Carroll, because
yeah, this is no shot at Russell Wilson. This is Pete Carroll specifically.
This is about Pete Carroll. No, this ain't even about the Seattle organization. It's about Pete Carroll, and I got a real problem with him now. Because as a coach, I'm putting him in this category that's a very new one, but but you'll understand where I'm going with it. But for coaches, he don't have that dog in him. That was a real cowardly move he pulled.
Yeah.
I know that made no sense, but it made sense all at the same time. You know what I'm saying? What he did just rubbed me all the wrong way. Just seriously, dude.
And the other thing,
and then you come back with that weak rebuttal of doing virtually nothing.
Absolutely nothing to solve the situation with Russell Wilson, where he's still upset that he doesn't have an offensive line. And I just kind of laid it out there. Their offensive line is not in a good spot.
All right. Have you ever got an argument with your girlfriend? It
Multiple
doesn't
times.
matter. Okay. It doesn't matter what the argument is about. But you start arguing, and then all of a sudden, you know how the argument ends. It don't end because of a solution. It just ended because on some
Both of you are tired.
silly technicality, like you know, yeah, all right, fine, you was right. You just
Yeah.
it ain't even agreed upon that the person was right. You just
Let's
walk
agree
away.
to disagree.
You just walked away. That's what this was with Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson. Let's just agree to disagree.
Yeah.
You know, agree to disagree with what? Fool, that's where we started.
Yeah.
Not where we ended. You know, but he'll make you convinced. He convinced the whole world, quote unquote, Russell Wilson.
Everything's fine.
Everything's okay. We talked about it. We hashed it back. You got to say what you wanted to say. I got to say what I needed to say. We're good, right? All right, good. Good talk, Russ. And Russell walked out of there.
Wait a minute.
Exactly. What just happened?
What Jedi mind trick did you just?
I don't know, but Russell Wilson fell for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I can't wait to see this. Now, the other key element is it's a Sunday game at 3, but it's the day after Christmas.
No.
When does Chicago go to Seattle? Do they have to miss Christmas to go out here to deal with this incident that we had to do? And now, you know what, Russ? You stay over there. We good, but where's your coach? You have Justin Fields now.
Yeah.
We're good. And now we're about to unleash him on you. You know, so I hope you're ready. Oh, you don't have Legion of Boom with you? Oh, there's going to be a problem today.
Now, I was going to ask you this. And this is a question that I saw a couple of times, and I've seen it answered a couple of different ways. Would you have rathered Chicago ended up with Russell Wilson and with his contract as it stands right now? I think he's got 3 years left on that deal, getting paid a lot of money, or Justin Fields on his number 11 overall contract, which is it's not a top 5 one, it's not breaking the bank, and he still has a 5th-year option since he was taken in the first round.
I like both options, but with that being said, taking the body of work, I think we would have the sure thing. We know what we got with Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
100%. And up until the draft, you couldn't have convinced me otherwise. I'm like, man, you can't offer me anybody unless you say I'm Mahomes. I'm taking Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Taking the body of work, looking at Justin Fields, seeing what he is, and
the way he's spinning that ball.
And I don't
wear
glasses, and I got 20/20 vision. But if I half last look at a highlight of him, I swear I'm looking at Russell Wilson. So let me get younger, faster, you know, more upside, longer career. Possibly, did he do anything? No, but if this hits, I think just because it's Chicago, but you know, it's Vegas, I'm going to roll it. Look, the odds. Look, we're playing with house money. That's how I look at Justin Fields as house money, which is why you see me play. You know, I kind of tease the whole. When you think you're going to start playing? You know, because it's the one of those. It's a refreshing place to be as a Bears fan. So
God, yes,
I think
feel like a brand new man.
Just for what he's bringing is more than what Russell Wilson could have brung, and what he would have brung. What he would have brung would have been just fine. However,
but you also have to think about we have to give up so much. What do we have to send away to go get Russ?
No, I understand that. But part of that would have been what we had to give up to move up in the draft too. It's all as part of it. A part of the equation to a degree.
Yeah. But to me, I think we would have given up so much more for the sure thing in Russell Wilson. Because to me, I think it's. I'm not that it's a home run.
Considering what they were asking for, like remember there was like Khalil Mack and
3 first-round picks,
possibly 3 first rounders and another player,
another superstar.
And granted, this is all hindsight because remember we was all like, look, if you guys say give up the farm,
give it all.
Give up the farm, right? Now we over here like, well, let's double down on that. Like we don't want to give.
Well, no, it's not even about that. It's just because hindsight being 2020, I like the fact that we didn't give up everything. We still, because the fact that we have Khalil Mack, we still have Akeem Hicks. Yes, we did have to let go of Kyle Fuller rather, and we ended up giving up 1 first-round pick, and yes, we gave up a 4th. What has our draft record been?
No, and I get you. And so that's the answer. The answer is the Bears did the right thing. I mean, they were able to create a better scenario for themselves.
Yeah.
Is what I should say. Because, I mean, it was given that was their first choice, and of course Pete Carroll didn't want to go and budge, and that's fine. I get it because at the end of the day, I mean, I'm still questioning how the hell does a Deshaun Watson, a Russell Wilson, and a damn Aaron Rodgers come up in the same damn summer or off season talking about we're leaving. What?
This is
Unheard of.
unprecedented.
That's like Joe Montana, Dan Marino, and John Elway all asked for trades in the offseason. What? That's are you serious? That's the level that is where we're at.
Yeah.
You know, with it. I'm like, what?
And we still don't know the situation with Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers. So I mean,
Right.
this has been the craziest time for
or Russell Wilson.
or Russell.
We know where he's at, but
that's not the end. And I told you what I think about him. I think that this is going to be. Oh, well, let's just run it back. We couldn't get a deal done. Sorry, Russ. We did what we could. We couldn't get what we thought was right for you, and so now we have to run it back. And yeah, okay, fine, we'll run it back. This is going to be a toxic year for them, I think. And the second that they hit a road bump, this is going to be, oh, Russell Wilson's not happy. Oh, this is why he was not happy. They finally ESPN is going to come to the realization that they didn't do jack whatever
right
for the offensive line that he was complaining about.
You think he's going to have to wait to week 16 for them to say that?
No, not this is the game. I'm talking about throughout the year. The second that they hit any turmoil this year, this is going to be the discussion on ESPN or any major.
They got to be just sitting back waiting.
Yeah,
you know, we're not going to say nothing. We're just going to wait, and then we're going to just unleash
it on them. I think we've rambled about Chicago and Seattle enough. Let's wrap things up.
Did we really?
I think there's only one thing left to really talk about with this schedule this year, and that's coming in Week 17. Week 18 is kind of a wash. It's all of those kind of division matchups. There's going to be 2 or 3 of them that are going to decide the divisions.
Rounding up the year.
Yeah. So we'll leave those, and we'll go week to week about this throughout the year. So we'll get more in depth about these matchups throughout the season. But let's finish it out. It's Week 17. Rams take on Baltimore. Another Super Bowl preview, if you will.
Rams taking on Baltimore. Another interesting matchup, though. You know, I mean, Green Bay, Rams, Baltimore. There's some. I don't know. These are just interesting teams to me because they're not your most conventional teams.
Yeah.
They don't do things conventionally. Of course, the Rams with this Matthew Stafford is just.
It changes that team into something completely different. The trajectory
of this team has just, oh my God, did y'all know what y'all just did? You know, just in this one.
Yeah.
I mean, because we looked at the Rams last year. We're just like,
we could see if you could get there, or we kept saying it.
A piece away here or there. If there's a run game get going, I could see them. You know, it was always like
it was always like if Jared Goff can take that final step, he's because Jared Goff is not.
Never said that.
No, this was the talk outside of us last year. No. Is Jared Goff becoming the guy in LA, which I didn't think was possible, and it wasn't clearly.
Right.
So, and when you have a situation where you have a guy that I can't even remember his last name, it's like it's Wolford or something like that. Mm-hmm. He comes in and he plays better than you in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think that's where Sean McVay was like,
time to go.
Yeah, he's looking up at the front office like, do you see what I've been telling you? Like, this is not me. Like, I know what I can do with the guy, and he's not it. So I'm excited to see what Sean McVay does with Matthew Stafford, and I think that this, if it's what I think it is, and I think it's going to be a smashing success. If it's that, the Rams, I think for the next 4 or 5 years, John Wolford. Yeah, I think for the next 4 or 5 years, the Rams might have this division locked up.
Man, but the NFC West and the AFC North. I'm sorry, I just can't be like hands down.
I'm not saying hands down. I'm saying it from a degree like they're going to be the team that it's going to be the Rams and the other team. Those are going to be the two duking that out.
Man, it's murky water over there. It's like, because I'm saying you can make a case for all 4 teams.
Yeah.
In both. That's what I'm really trying to say. A case can be made for the Bengals. I get it. You know, I'm saying they could be not to win a division, but to not be in last place in the division. Let me be very clear. No, they're not going to win the division.
No,
either. Now,
not this year.
In the West, give me any team. That's including Arizona. Any team, if they, and I wouldn't be surprised. But I mean, outside of Cincinnati, I just don't think they'll be in last.
Yeah.
Because man, I can't wait for the season to start.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. The AFC. I mean, AFC. I keep saying AFC West. NFC West has to be
the best division.
If you're talking about for parity aspect, this is about as even as it gets.
Is the extreme counter division to the NFC East.
Oh my god.
trash, and more trash.
I guess there has
powerhouse.
I guess there has to be
some balance.
Sense of balance here, where you couldn't have one good team over there. It
Yeah.
just teeters it off. Yeah. Exactly. Well said. Well put. Because yes.
All right. Well, let's wrap things up for today. I think we rambled on enough. There's going to be a ton of great games this season, and again, like I said, we are going to go week to week throughout the season. Once the season finally gets here, it can't come soon enough. But we will talk about a ton of matchups, some key things throughout the year. So stay tuned for that, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing picks and all that type of there's stuff in store for next season that I am excited to do for this show. I'm excited for the NFL season just as a fan. I'm excited to see the Bears just as a fan. So, I mean, there's stuff in store coming down the line. But please like, rate, and subscribe. We definitely need that to continue to happen. You guys have been killing it as of late in just getting viewership out there and sharing it with your friends. So keep that up. We love seeing that type of success. Plus, we also want to make sure that you guys share the podcast with your friends. We want to grow as a community of sports fans here with you guys as fans and us as the host of this show. So continue just smashing that like button and rating it on the different platforms and making sure that you subscribe. So
hey, and drop a comment, and if there's a topic y'all want us to y'all want to hear and want us to talk about, please, we take suggestions.
100%. So thank you guys again for listening. This has been a fun show.
Yes.
We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Have a good night.